welcome back to the Cub Content Studio. Cub Content Studio, right? Is that what we are?
So good.
On the Pull Tab Sports Network is where we are, right? We're happy to be here. This is episode number 15, David. 15. We made it 15. I said that at 14, that we made it 14, and turns out Sal didn't fire us after 14. So
you did check your email.
We're here I did finally check my email. Yes, I did. And there was no firing. There was no furlough. I was waiting out for a big severance package, but it turns out we don't make that much money. So I'll start out by thanking Cub, obviously, because I always do. Cub has been a proud sponsor of ours for a long time and a proud sponsor of the Pull Tab Sports Network. Anything from produce to meats to cheeses to everything is fresh, and I use them quite often. You all know that. Have had really good experiences lately with some family events. They also have a liquor store, David. And that liquor store not only provides you with Stoli vodka, but there's a variety of different drinks, which I'm hoping Kelly answers the question correctly today. That's our guest today. I'll introduce her in a second.
She's already getting a preview of it.
And they have THC drinks as well. So when you do have a chance, stop by a Cub location. Feel free to use Cub.com if you can't make it or in a tight pinch for time. Get them to deliver your groceries or pick them up curbside. Either one is fine.
Thanks for being a sponsor. Wouldn't be here without you.
Thank you, Cub Foods. So on today's edition of the Gambling Guys, we have a wonderful guest who we've been waiting to get on, and we've finally got into her tight schedule. So Kelly Rivard is here today. She is our wild correspondent for the Pull Tab Sports Network and an avid gambler, and we've been so excited to want to have her on for a while. Kelly, welcome to the program. Welcome to the podcast. We are super excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So Kelly comes to us as a recommendation of our proud and very capable producer, Sal, over there behind the curtain. Sal, you had been mentioning Kelly for quite some time to us. And tell us why you think Kelly's going to fit into a couple of schmucks like us as far as the podcast is concerned, because I want to hear what your thoughts were on this one.
I think Kelly is very knowledgeable in her gambling, and she just blows my mind on the way she thinks. And I mean, when you think of gambling, you don't think of as a female, and we shouldn't think that way, but Kelly knocks it out of the park when it comes down to it.
Kelly, you come highly recommended from Sal. That's a huge recommendation.
Yeah.
So you got a lot to live up to here. Don't get nervous.
I know.
It's all good. No, but Kelly, tell us a little bit about, not necessarily yourself, because we're not a dating program. We're more of a gambling program. What do you like to gamble? What are things that you like to do in your spare time? You mentioned that you like to do some sportsbook gambling. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you love kind of playing the lines. What's your, if you're going to sit down during any sports season, what's your favorite sports season to gamble in? I think I know what that is just based on what you do here, but what do you like to do? Because you're generational, you're an earlier generation than David and I, and we love seeing people in earlier generations, like my son has embraced gambling as well. Tell us a little bit about your gambling experience.
Yeah, so hockey is probably my main sport I bet on, but I also dabble in baseball, football, basketball here and there, but I feel like I'm the most knowledgeable in hockey, so that's where I usually put my expertise towards. But I got into it just simply because I had a friend that started sports betting, and also my brother's always been into it, and just gave it a try, and it gives me an opportunity to watch games that I should never care about, but now I have a reason to watch these because I got money on the line, which is fun.
Exactly.
So I know, and it just makes the game a little bit more exciting in that sense too for me. So that's essentially why I started gambling.
Do you bet on the prop betting part of the game, like shots on goal, or the outcome of the game, or both?
So yeah, I do like prop betting, but I'd say mostly I bet on just money lines for like games or whatever. But I gotta be I always am really careful about certain prop bets. For example, shots on goal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Tell me about that.
The amount of bad beats that I thought I've won while watching a game, I started celebrating. I actually had a parlay one night with Jason Robertson over 2.5 shots on goal. He was at 2 shots on goal in the second period. And I swear to God, I watched him at least have 2 more shots on goal. And I went to bed that night thinking I hit that parlay.
Thinking you won, yeah.
I looked, and he had 3 shots on goal at one point.
Yes.
I woke up, they took that shot away. Yeah. So I was like.
That happened to me with Connor McDavid the other night.
It's
and
brutal.
I was pissed off.
So it's one of those things where it's like whoever is counting the shots, people count them differently. And I've always said this, it bugs me like crazy, but if it's past the blue line, they don't usually count it as a shot on goal. But my argument is if there's no goalie in that net, that would go in the net. So that's a shot on goal, right? But most people don't count that as a shot on goal. It bugs me, but I'm like.
So do you tend to do the majority of your betting on the line then?
Yeah, usually. But I do like betting players to get points in a game. So I don't usually. I always take the worst, the worst odds in that sense of like not to get a goal or an assist. I'd rather, because you still get decent odds on like just getting a point in a game. So I try to do that more so because I just get upset.
Do you just get a point in hockey? Do you just get a point if you get a goal?
It's either assist or a goal. So that's why I'm opening up my chances.
They count the same, David.
So yeah.
See, I don't know. I shouldn't be on the gambling guys.
No, I think you know now. Now you know. If you know, you know.
But Kelly is betting on the line, which is great. So you must have a mechanism in which you can do it until the state of Minnesota gets going.
Yeah. So a lot of the time what I do is I'll look at matchups, and before I look at any odds or anything like that, I kind of think to myself, I put a line in my head. Like, this is what I think it should be. And if I go look at those lines and it's anywhere near, like if it's close to what I think it should be, I like that bet.
We need to pause right there because I'm going to bet, I'll be honest, David Casino, that I've never done that. On basketball, on football, anything. That's pretty smart. And I'm pretty sure 0 for 25 prop bet Pete doesn't do that. Well, but maybe surprise me. We're already learning from Kelly. So that's actually really good for our listeners.
So prop bet Pete, same thing. And I really do like that because you literally don't even look at the line. You're like, okay, the Wild is playing the Islanders tonight or whoever they're playing. I think the Wild are going to beat them by a goal. I think it might be a 4-3 game for these reasons in your own head, right? So you're thinking about the players, you're thinking about defense, like what, you generally know how well the Islanders, their back line is, right?
Yep,
and
exactly.
And then you're saying to yourself, I think this might be a 4-3 Wild game. Then you look at the line.
Yep, exactly. And also I take into consideration, like if they're on back-to-backs or anything like that. Hockey is a big one for back-to-back betting. That's when I, like for an underdog in that, say, I've won a lot of money just betting, say like the Oilers are playing, Arizona, but Oilers played last night, Arizona's fresh. I'm going to hammer the Arizona more than likely. And you'll see a lot of the time the underdog comes in a lot on
I think we're going to be replaced. Like probably by the end of this episode, it's going to be the gambling gal. Like,
it seems so logical, but yet you clown 1 and clown 2 over here.
I'm so emotional.
To figure out how to bet hockey.
Do you? Okay, so to me, it's an emotional entertainment and a rush. So I mean, I love the intelligence you're putting into it, but do you do it for that rush as well? The money win, but also the rush.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's gambling in the end, So yeah, it's sweet to win and like have those big wins or whatever, but it's also cool because I feel like it's not like I'm just going and putting $100 on black on roulette. Like I'm actually using my knowledge for it, so it feels like a better source of gambling, I guess, in that sense for me. And so I get the rush from it too, but it also feels like it's not pure gambling, because
there's entertainment value.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and like you said earlier, I mean, the same with me. I don't love betting sleeper because 1, I'm not good at it, and 2, I literally just think that the lines are held against you a lot.
Exactly, they are in those those books. Yeah,
those books are just seem to be. If you look at even a player's average points per game, their line is always set above that, and that's just they're just asking you to fail. But the reason I keep betting it is because it's really fun to watch the Dallas Mavericks play the Cleveland Cavaliers, a game I would never, ever watch at all. Like, I would rather sleep. But I've got Luka Doncic and I've got a few others, and I'll bet that line because I want to watch that game.
Exactly.
Right?
I know. That's exactly why I do it, too. And I'm like, it's a slow Monday night. I have nothing going on. I'm like, oh, great. These 2 teams are playing. Let's make some prop bets and let's see what I can do. Like,
so speaking of gambling, and it's going to serve two purposes. Let's get into the 5 questions. 1, because we haven't had a guest on in a while, and 2, because I want to gamble.
You're excited. You're excited about the 5 question.
Yeah, I am.
So I'll set it up, and then you ask the questions. So Kelly, we've done this with all of our guests.
Yes.
It's a 5 questions. It's 5 questions. You take a minute, take a couple seconds if our listeners, to answer the question, because we want our listeners to get their own bet in on you as well. How you're going to answer the question. And David will ask 5 questions. We have $100 per question bet between us.
Oh,
I went
stakes.
I went 0 for 5 last time, so I owe him $500.
Plus 500, right?
There.
Plus 500 for David. So this sucks. So please answer them all in my direction.
I'll try my best.
Yes. I'm kind of giving you some mental vibes here to answer these. But David and I obviously went through these prior to this episode. And David, if you want to just start out and make sure that this come my way, okay?
Sounds good.
I'll try to pause on the right answer, Kelly. I'm kidding.
Okay.
This question has 4 options, and it could be another. What is your favorite alcohol drink? So here are the categories: wine, beer or seltzer is 1.
Okay.
Spirit or other.
Okay.
Would you like to drink wine, beer or seltzer, spirit or other?
Am I ready to?
You're ready to go.
Am I ready to answer? You guys have your picks?
Pete's not giving you eye contact.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm trying not to.
Oh, sorry, Kelly. We already actually have them down.
Oh,
We
okay,
actually
gotcha.
we
I
already
thought
have
you were
them
gonna
down.
discuss. Okay, gotcha.
So
okay.
just to
So-
clarify, why?
No. I asked the question. Don't just go
Yeah,
ahead.
but
She's got it.
but you made it sound like there's multiple. There's 4 picks.
Yeah, if you
And it's not alcohol. If it's another. If you don't drink, it's another.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's wine. Then
do you want to ask the questions or can I
No,
ask the questions?
I figured out beer
Beer,
and seltzer
seltzer
together.
are together.
Yes,
That's
I got
what-
that.
She's
Yeah.
smart.
And
Well, she's not as smart as you because you couldn't fucking do it. So
All
I'm going to
well,
do the other 4. Okay,
my
Kelly.
answer would be B, beer and seltzer.
okay, that's a really
one
good
for
answer.
I knew that.
Yeah, nice
One for
work.
Pete.
What do
Chris
you
knew
when
that.
you have a beer seltzer? Is it usually a seltzer? Is it like
No, I don't even drink seltzers. I just usually drink beer. It's usually what yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
No more
Yeah.
fist pumps over there, and no more interruptions on how I'm going to ask the question. You're like,
Do you want to double down for pick the brand of beer?
Oh, I'm gonna put you on. Shit, this is a tough one because you're probably a craft beer person, but I'm gonna put you on Coors Light.
I was going to say like a cider beer.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's super funny. Okay, so you guys are both right, I'd say. So
Yeah.
I drink a lot of Strongbow. That's one of my favorite ciders. Coors Light is just like my go-to if I'm just like in a whatever.
Yep.
But I'm a sucker for like Modelo and Corona too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Modelo, it's interesting, has become the highest selling beer in the United States.
I was
Is
going
it
to say it was
really?
the world, but
Highest
you're
grossing.
Yeah.
Maybe world.
Really?
Yeah,
I
but
did not
you're
know
right.
that.
Yeah.
It outpassed it just in the last few months, didn't it?
Wow.
Ever since that Bud Light debacle. So
Yeah.
that's too bad.
Okay,
All right.
so we hear that you do sport betting, but you also go to casino once in a while.
Oh yeah.
Here, Vegas, etc.
Yep.
So this is not just Minnesota or whatever, but like if you're walking into a Vegas casino, what's your favorite game that you go to first?
Favorite game that I go to first. That would probably be blackjack. I probably play the most blackjack in Vegas. I just got back from Vegas actually,
You
not
did?
that long ago. So
How long were you
yes.
at Vegas?
5 days. I have a.
Ooh, that's a long
I
time in
know.
Vegas.
So I have a thing about when I go to Vegas, I go there for at least 5 days.
Oh,
which-
We're gonna come back to that as a
Yeah.
topic.
Yes.
We'll come back to that as a
We'll
topic.
come back.
Yeah, let's
I
come
wanna
back to the Vegas.
understand
Sure.
where you stayed and everything,
Yes,
but I'm 0
for
for
sure.
2.
Okay,
So I need to
yes.
get on the board.
Okay, let's do it.
Because
Yeah.
I'm pressing it here now. I'm getting.
You are. You're getting a little fidgety over there. You
So
got
this
some problems?
is
How
kind
the-
of an under-over.
How
Go
the
ahead.
tables have turned.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
weird how that works, huh, Sal?
Yep.
I think I'm going to do all right in these next couple.
Okay.
At what age did you gamble your first dollar?
Oh, okay. The day I turned 18, probably. Yeah.
We're going to have to go to the rule book on this one.
Yeah. So
Because I said
What
18 and Pete said under. So I think by the rule, Kelly, were you 18 when you first gambled your first dollar?
Oh my. Yes, I think yeah.
She's
Yeah.
such a-
Yeah. 18.
You mean you didn't place a bet with your friends like out playing
Well,
softball.
I don't know
I'll bet you I hit this over the fence for
that.
$5.
I'm talking about like, okay, so
No, you said 18 your first
Yeah,
answer. I get
okay,
it. I get it.
yeah.
You were right. I'm just trying to talk you into me winning. That's
yeah,
all.
sure. I'm
So-
sure I did a $20 bet, like whatever, with my friend when I was like.
No, that's
16,
illegal, Kelly.
but
You
I'm
gambled when you
right.
were 18.
Yeah, I gambled when I was 18.
This is
Yes.
this is a family friend show.
Yes.
In
This
particular,
is not a family-friendly show for
you're
one.
swearing and you're winning. Just think what happens when you lose. Okay, so it's 2-1.
Okay.
We got 2 more questions.
Okay.
This is a food-related question about the favorite type of protein you would have on the favorite meal.
Okay.
And we categorize it as beef, chicken, seafood, or veggie or vegetarian.
Okay. Seafood, absolutely.
Yes.
How are you a seafood person? Really?
2 to
Yes,
2. Now we got ourselves a
absolutely.
game.
What's your favorite seafood?
Crab legs.
Crab
I
legs.
go nuts for crab legs. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you're having like a romantic dinner with a significant other, crab legs is your pick.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
What nice
They
work.
get messy though, so maybe not for. I don't know.
I
Did you
love
have
crab
crab
legs,
legs
too.
in Vegas when you were there?
So I try to, but not. I mean, they're kind of hard to get nowadays. Like, even around
Expensive.
like everywhere. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had a lobster tail, which, I mean, I prefer crab over lobster
I do too.
way more. But I'll settle for lobster. So I did.
Love
have
it.
that
We're
when I
getting to
was
know
Vegas.
you, and this is the tiebreaker, our fifth and
Yes.
final question.
Okay.
And Sal, I'm sure you know the answer to this one, so just keep quiet over there.
Okay.
The vehicle you drive: SUV, sedan, truck, or minivan?
It is an SUV.
$100 to the good guy after starting out 0 for 2.
Son of a bitch. Kelly, you did well.
You did well. So I really want to dig into Vegas.
How
So
did
Yeah.
you know that? I didn't pick her on an SUV. I picked her on a sedan or a truck.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a sedan, but yeah, and then I got
Never
an
a truck,
SUV.
though.
No, never a truck.
Do you ever want a truck?
He's looking for half a point.
Yeah, no. Yeah, right.
Have you ever thought about driving in a truck?
Have you ever
Once or
stood
twice,
next to a
maybe.
truck?
Have you seen a truck on the road today?
Had you put me down for a truck?
I had you down with a truck.
God. Do you see how tall I was when I stood up? Like,
Yeah, that's why I thought you'd be
get a
badass
ladder
truck
to get in a
driver.
truck.
That
Okay,
would be
maybe.
awesome.
Maybe.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Wow. So you just got back from Vegas not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. Yeah.
And this was a pleasure trip with some friends, fun.
Yeah, so we went out there for my friend's birthday. My family was with.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a group of us, and yeah, it was a good time. We stayed at Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood. Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you what establishments, casinos did you visit in Vegas?
So, I've been to Vegas a few times. So, we went downtown one of the nights, but just checked out all the Caesars properties. So I tried a new thing this year because I just tried to build my status in the Caesars properties. So I really only gambled at Caesars.
Yep.
In years past, I've gambled at all these different casinos, and I'm like, okay, I'm still losing all this money, and I'm still not really getting anything back from it. So I was like, I'm gonna stick to Caesars properties, and that's what I did this year, and got to stay there for free. And now I have a host.
Was
Yeah,
there any?
that's great.
Did you
Yeah.
have any favorite casinos? Did you like Caesars? Did you liked Caesars?
Yeah, I love all Caesars properties. They're all really great. My favorite all-time casino in Vegas, though, is Circa.
Yeah,
I mean,
downtown.
you can't beat it.
The
I
sports
just wish
book at Circa's
is
unbelievable. Yeah,
and their
yeah.
pool is unbelievable. I mean, they have like all the screens for the games too out there. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite casinos. But that's not a Caesars property, so I didn't spend much time gambling there.
I've never been to the pool at Circa. I've seen
It's
pictures.
so sweet.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so cool. Yeah, one of the best pools in Vegas for sure, in my opinion.
Do you pay to get in that pool, or do you if you're not
Yeah,
staying
so
there, you
if
gotta
you're
pay
staying there,
rent?
you get in for free. I think it's like $40 for a day pass on the weekends, and it's only like $20 during the weekdays if you want to spend a day at the pool. So not terrible.
Okay.
I love the vibe there. Just the craps and blackjack area, and just how it's adjacent to the sports book. It's really
Yeah.
great. So you were at Planet Hollywood. What are on the other side of the strip there with Planet Hollywood? What other ones are Caesars properties? Is the Link or Palazzo? Or?
The Link is a Caesars property. Flamingo is.
Is the Palazzo?
I don't
Venetian,
think
Palazzo
so.
are
Vene-
not.
they're
They're their
not.
own. They're their
No,
own
the
program.
Venetian's their own. Paris
Okay.
is a Caesars
That's what I was-
property.
that's what I was thinking about.
So yeah, I know. Sometimes I get Paris and Venetian confused too, but Venetian's on its own. But yeah, so I spend a lot of time at the Flamingo. I like playing blackjack there. They have 2-deck there, so that's usually what I try to play, 4 deck at most. But
so in a normal day, you were there for 5 days. Do you get up and tell us about a normal day?
Yeah, so usually, I mean, I do really like just jumping from casino to casino during the day, like seeing stuff, getting lunch, stopping for like a beer or whatever at these outdoor bars, like doing that. But usually I get up, I go to the pool for a little bit, and then get some dinner, and then I'm a night gambler for the most part. Like I stay up late in Vegas. I get the most of my time. So it depends, but most of the days I'd say I'm at the pool during the day, and then I gamble more towards night. So
do the table limits like at Planet Hollywood, do they get pretty high in the evenings? Have you seen them get up there a little bit?
I mean, not terrible. So Planet Hollywood, you're not going to find a $10 or $15 table more than likely, but $25 tables are pretty typical there.
Sure.
I do think there are a couple of $15 tables, but the later you go, so like 3, 4 a.m., you will find the $15 tables and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I definitely.
But there aren't the vibe isn't there either. I mean, you're really gambling hard, but you don't feel that energy. I don't feel a lot of energy at 4 a.m. Not just in general, not personally, but. You don't feel the people energy because everyone's sleeping.
Everyone's sleeping. There's not much going on, but some nights I just don't want to go to bed, and I'm just up.
Agreed. And there's just those hardcore folks left, right?
Well, hang on. Let's be honest. You and I go get Starbucks in the morning. Kelly said she goes to the pool and has dinner, so she's waking up after Starbucks is closed. So don't put us in that category, Pete. We're old and we're in bed by like 11.
Does Starbucks ever close in Vegas?
I think it does. Well, I don't know. Maybe do you have a Starbucks? Do you grab a Starbucks before dinner or after dinner?
They definitely do close at one point in the day. So,
Kelly, do you know what's the drink, David? Trenta.
Do you know what a Trenta is?
Yeah, well, it's one of their sizes. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pete and I. Well, we should ask her. What do you think we drink that's in Trenta?
Just black coffee.
Yeah, of course. Look at us.
Iced coffee. I mean, you can't get a Trenta in hot coffee, right? Because it would be too hot, right?
Oh, yeah, because it's in the plastic, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Trenta's only available in iced coffee.
Yeah, true.
And it's a lot of caffeine, but worth it. Yeah.
Do you ever play craps?
So the last time I was in Vegas, not this last time, but the time before, I had tried to learn, and I wish I knew how to play better because that is always like the most rowdy table at any casino, and it looks so much fun. But I try, but I'm not. That's not something that I'm actually gonna be profiting probably on. It's more so just like the atmosphere.
Well,
and,
the reason
being
why
the roller and
we've talked about it, and there's different strategies. It's a tough game to play, and whatever. But at Planet Hollywood, they have this. Did you see it where you have a bunch of people around and they rotate and you stand up and you throw the dice.
Yeah.
And then you come back and sit down at your terminal.
Your own machine.
Your own
so
machine.
I played that there before.
That's what I wondered if you did. It was one of the first that have the combination of electronic and live dice.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah. I've done that.
So it's kind of an entryway in it. Planet. It's great for people to go over there, right? Because you don't. It's not putting your the toughest part for me right away with craps is where to put your money and where to put your hands and all that movement. Well, and if you're just at your own kiosk and every 8 times it does. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what when I was learning, that's what I did. And I was like, okay, this is super fun. I mean, there's no pressure of it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's craps is such a fun game, and it's a social game.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part when you bet the dark side like we do, which is the other side of the shooter. It's not conducive to having fun because people are looking at you going, why are you betting against me? Well, I'm betting against you because the house has got better odds than you do. But
right.
You don't want to tell them that. So I do like playing the dark side of craps on the video-based poker craps machines because, quite frankly, people don't get angry and they don't know. But when you're putting chips down on that don't pass line, people tend to notice that, especially the shooter. Yeah. Right. So
get in their head.
I want to ask you about
a little bit
about blackjack and betting, but before I do, I want to ask you another question. So I know you answered beer or seltzer or more beer, but I'm guessing you've had a spirit before, maybe like some Stoli vodka. Yes, they're a sponsor of ours. Would you go with what flavor? Orange, raspberry, blueberry, vanilla, cucumber, citrus, salted caramel, or original?
Ooh. Cucumber is one of my all-time faves.
Yeah.
But,
do you mix that with like
$100.
with a tonic? Okay, fine.
Yeah, soda or just straight water. It doesn't need any. Yeah, I don't. It tastes like cucumber water.
That's
then.
smooth.
Yeah, it's good.
That's actually
what I do.
the best glowing recommendation right there for Stoli.
Yeah.
From Kelly, Stoli cucumber, just with a little water and ice.
A demographic they should definitely go after.
Boom.
Absolutely.
Stoli,
100%.
thanks for being a sponsor. Appreciate it. So we've talked about blackjack before on this and betting strategy. What is your betting strategy? You can talk about what you bet, how much, but more of just kind of the strategy you use if you go up or down. And
Yeah. So I always get a feel for the shoe at first, so I'm minimum betting. And then if I win, I double my bet usually.
Okay.
And then if I win again, I like riding streaks. That's how I kind of go. So I will, for the most part, just like kind of keep stacking or like adding, say the bet is $25. I'll add a $25 chip every time I win or something like that. And depending on if I'm really feeling lucky, like I'll stack a few of those on there every single time. But eventually your streak's going to run out. So like say I build up, I start with 200, I build up to 400. I'm going to probably like lower my bet back down to 50 and like just I try to keep an idea of like how much I've been up. So I mean it's really easy to lose track and just put a bunch of chips out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd say, and then for a $25 table, if I'm up, I start using $50 as like my minimum.
That's
your minimum.
Yeah.
You reset your own minimum.
I reset my own minimum based on like how my shoe is going. So if it's going well, and if I'm up to like $100 bet and I lose, I'm just going to go back down to 50, not 25.
When you say going well, is it a combination? Do you count a little bit into how many are left, or is it more feel? Or?
I try. Yeah, and then someone starts talking to you. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. But I try to keep an idea of it. That's why I usually only try to play 2-deck or 4-deck. You can keep an idea of how many face cards or aces have been out. So I do that. But I'm a book player. I play by the book. So I'm always going to be doubling 11s no matter what the dealer's showing.
Yeah.
I'm usually always going to be splitting 8s. I feel that's the way most people should play, so that's why I play. So
you take the emotion out of it, right?
Yeah, right.
What do you do when you sit down at a table and you realize that the players you're playing with aren't as experienced? Like you get people who are hitting on, dealer showing a 4 and they've got 14.
Yeah.
That's maddening. But
yeah, it's maddening.
Are you a walk away? Are you a?
I'll play a little bit, but I'm not going to be betting like I usually bet. That's when I'll just be like minimum betting, because usually players like that, they only will stick around for a few hands. They're not going to be there for hours or whatever. So usually you just have to ride it out, and they'll get up eventually because they'll lose if they're playing like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have though, and just in Vegas, I had like a $300 bet out there, or it might have been more than that. And
may or may not have been more than that.
I know, and I had 19, and the guy next to me split 10s.
No.
And he had $25 out there.
And he took one of the.
And the dealer added up to 21.
So
he took the
one of
bus
the
cards.
Yeah, he took all of them. Yeah, so I looked at him, I was just like, that I might have shared not a nice word with him, but I was like, oh, dude, like, I'm also kind of like a respectful player. Like, I'll look around, see who has like the most money on the table, and I'll ask them, I'm like, are you okay if I double this? Are you okay if I split this? Whatever. I mean, because if I only have $25 out there and say someone else has $500 out there, it should be more so like what you want me to do. Like, I'm not going to do something stupid that's against the book if someone else has all that.
Favorite spot to sit at first base or third or somewhere in between?
I actually like being third base.
Do you?
Yeah,
so
I
you
do.
kind of like.
Yeah.
So then, one of the things I either do or don't. It kind of depends on the feel. Mm-hmm. So like if you have a 2, or let's say you have 12 and the dealer's 2 up. They say to take the hit because it increases by odds a little bit. Yeah. But that's a tough spot to be in at third base. So have you been in that position? And
yeah. So usually if I have 12 and the dealer has, it depends on how many other people took a card.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Good call.
So that's what I always do. Usually you're supposed to do the same thing no matter what. Like if you have a 12, you're supposed to always hit it. But it's a personal thing. So if you never hit it, don't ever. But what I usually do, I look around, I'm like, okay, this guy's going to take a card, and he does. I'm going to stay now and kind of go off based what his card is. So just depends on how many people are taking cards at the table. But usually if 1 or 2 people are taking one, I'm staying on 12 and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
So you realize that Sal put Kelly on here because they're looking to change the gambling guys, right? Kelly's going to replace us. People got more information out of the last 30 minutes than they have in the last 15 episodes, right?
Don't sell yourself short. You're a tremendous slouch.
Hey, we won a W2G last night.
Oh.
We did.
So there we go. It's all about luck. Okay, anyways.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about if you're with, so Pete and I pool our money when we go to the casino, and you were there with friends. Do you pool your money any times with, and like,
Yeah, the only time I've really ever done that is on a slot machine. So like one of those big ones, you know, that are sometimes like $10, $15 a spin or whatever. We'll each put $100 in and hope for the best. But that's really the only time I'll pool. If I'm playing blackjack or, you know, whatever, I'm usually on my own in that. But the slots I think is fair. Or like roulette, even if you could do that if you just want to bet black or red and stuff like that, numbers. But
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, your demographic for your age and your gambling prowess and your intelligence, your intelligence quotient for gambling is probably a lot different than the people you hang out with, or is it not?
Yeah, so that's okay. So I love to gamble, and a lot of my friends do not gamble much. Like, and good for them. Good for them. It's gambling.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
but I mean, yeah, they'll gamble, but like they'll lose $50 in a night. It'll be like devastating, and I'm like, see, it's like for me, like my values or whatever are a little bit higher than I'm able to like bet more, and because I like gambling and it's something that I do often, but they don't. So they don't understand like watching me gamble the way I do or something like that. So it's hard to actually like find the friends to go to Vegas and like, you know, gamble because they want to go to the club or something. But sometimes I just want to sit and play poker all night, you know, but I'm not hanging out with my friends then. So it is kind of hard. That's why I go to Vegas with my family a lot because, you know, my brother and I play poker together.
Right.
My parents play a lot of blackjack, whatever. But I know I can gamble the way I want to gamble at that time.
So you grew up in a gambling family. Your parents like to gamble a little bit. I mean, and so it was natural around you. And you set aside discretionary income for gambling because it's an entertainment source for you, right?
Yeah.
Whereas your friends maybe don't because they'd rather have a Stoli vodka on the rocks for $27 and you'd rather put that at a blackjack table.
Yes, exactly. So that's the thing. So my friends, we have different ideas of fun in Vegas, you know, and I don't blame them. I mean, gambling, they see it as stupid sometimes, and it is sometimes stupid to gamble as much as they do. But sometimes I don't want to go into the $100 cover fee club and spend $40 on a drink. So
being a Wild correspondent, when you were in Vegas, do you put money on futures bets for the Wild or other NHL teams, or what you're thinking? Did you spend much time in the sports books, and do you bet on?
Yeah, for future bets though, I tend to avoid. I have a couple for baseball, but I haven't placed any on hockey yet. If I do that, I'll just do that through my sports book because I got to look into it more. Yeah. But with future bets too, you got to be kind of careful with because, I mean, the casinos. That's another way they get an edge over you, like. They have to make up for the team that's actually going to make it to the Stanley Cup. So you're getting actually not great odds on it if you think about it. So it's one of those things that I don't really love future betting because they're again not the casinos is taking an additional edge that you don't even realize on it. So the best way to sports bet is simply just money line bets if you're going to do it. Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah, that's one of the things I read too, and I don't know if you and I talked about this, David, but one of the articles I read was casinos love futures betting. One, because the odds aren't great. Secondly, because there's a fair percentage of those futures bets that even after they're won are never cashed in.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Because people just forget. They forget they had the tickets.
Or if somebody like gets a dealt full house and they throw it.
Oh,
on video poker.
On video poker.
I don't know.
I mean, hypothetically, like Kelly, that may have happened.
I saw that video
4 or 5 times.
Did you post a video of you doing that one time?
Maybe,
I swear I've seen a video of that.
Maybe.
I don't know, but I was
Thanks
like,
for bringing it up.
I
though.
haven't
That's
picked
really
on
nice
Prop
to.
Bet Pete for a while.
Yeah,
but
I
actually,
know.
it's. I mean,
fun.
Or think about
That
if
was
you've had too much Stoli or THC drinks or something. There's probably a lot of lost different things. You don't hold the right cards, or you fold, or you do whatever. You take a hit when you're not supposed to.
Yeah, it's like scratch offs, right? You do a scratch off and you sit them and throw them in your glove compartment, and then a year later, you go and try to cash it in, and they go,
Yeah.
So gambling has been a big part, and obviously you can tell that it's an exciting part of your life. I think Pete used the word entertainment. That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
And we love to gamble and try to keep it within the realms of what we can handle.
Right.
What if you had to talk about a biggest win or a favorite gambling story or two? What comes to mind?
So I just had an insane blackjack situation last time in Vegas. So it was late at night. It was like probably 4 a.m. And it's me, my brother, and my friend Alex. And we're all kind of just like, wow, we should really go to bed. And, I had a rough night at poker, had some bad beats or whatever. So I didn't have much left in my wallet. And my friend looks at me and he goes, I'm going to put $100 down on one blackjack hand. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. I'm done. Just one hand. So I was like, okay. So we go up to the Planet Hollywood table. It's 2-deck. It's 4 a.m. So it's a $15 table now. So he bets $100. He wins. He's done. And I start looking at my wallet. I'm like, I got 2 $5 bills and 5 ones left in my wallet.
$15.
So I have $15.
Table minimum.
Yeah, I'm like, I have enough for one hand.
Yeah.
Well, here I go. So they give me a new shoe, and I cut it. And I kid you not, I turned that $15 into $1,600 in one shoe.
In one shoe.
Yeah.
So a 2-deck shoe,
Yeah.
they're cutting off a good deck,
Yeah.
maybe a little less because
Yeah.
right? So how many you had to? Did you
double
win?
down every time?
Yeah,
I didn't double down every time. So I would win the first hand. I'd have $15 out there. I just stack it.
30?
So to 30. Stack it again. Now I have
60.
I kept
120.
doing that. Yeah, and then I had a few really nice doubles, few really nice splits, and like it was insane. The luck, like I would have a 16 dealer be showing like a 10, and I would always hit like a 5. Like I would always add up to 21. It was unbelievable. And when I'm playing blackjack, like I'm pretty mellow. I don't celebrate much. But my brother and my friend Alex were literally like, it reminded me of the scene of The Hangover. I'm like focused, and they're like chest bumping, and they're like, she can't lose. Like it was unreal. Like, and I'm just sitting there, I'm just focused, but they're like going nuts, and I'm like, this is kind of crazy though. Like, how do you turn my last $15?
Your last $15.
I know.
You're going to bed depressed.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
know.
I lost everything
I know.
tonight. Shit.
And that
I know,
was
right?
under 10 minutes.
Literally under 10 minutes. Yeah.
And so when that shoe was done, did you get up and walk away?
Yeah. So I actually didn't even get to the very end of the shoe. So I ended up losing like 2-3 hands at the end, and I was like, okay, like I know how quick this can turn the other way. So I was like, I gotta get up. See, that's the thing with blackjack. Like, as quick as I won that, it's as quick as I can lose that. I'm like, and that's the number one thing about blackjack. Like, it's so hard for people to just like get up. Like, even just winning like $200-300, like if you could just get up every time you won that amount and like walked around, came back to the table, you do so much better than just like hoping you're eventually gonna win with like that $200-300.
What great advice! I mean, it's a game of streaks.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
So if you can bet a minimum and lose 10 in a row, just wait for the time you're going to win 10 in a row with some double downs like you did.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important. You just set the limits to say, if you have $200 and you double it, you should get out of there.
Yeah, right.
Well, and we did a podcast on blackjack a while back, and I think the stat you had was at any given time when you're sitting in front of a dealer, there's a 2% chance, or 2% of the time you're going to go on a 7 streak or a 7-hand winning streak, or the dealer's going to do it, right? Like you each have equal. So it's rare that you're going to go on that big of a streak.
Yeah, right.
And once you did, it's cool that you recognized it and said, you know what? It's 4 a.m. I probably need some sleep. I just took $15 and turned it into $1,600. I'm out.
Right. Isn't it? Yeah, I know. It's still like
really
crazy
cool
that
story.
that happened. But yeah, so it's exactly like that. And it's one of those things where it's just like you have to realize it's time to get up, because, I mean, I've seen people just lose all their like up $2,000 and it's gone in a shoe, because you want to keep betting the same amount that you were when you were winning. And that's always a bad it just doesn't.
Everybody hit pause and replay that right there.
Right there, right?
Right
Yeah.
there. That's the best advice.
So have you played, so you mentioned poker, you and your brother, do you play in the poker rooms? You play,
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And do you play exclusively Hold'em? Do you play Mississippi Stud? What do you play?
No, I play Hold'em, so cash games usually. Yeah.
2-4?
2-100. So big blind is 2, small blind 1, and you max buy-in is or So 100 is the maximum bet. So
Okay.
Yeah, so you can like re-raise. So say I bet 100, someone can raise to 200. It just has to be in increments of 100 if you're gonna re-raise or whatever. But yeah, so
What do
play
you
a
have
lot
to
of poker.
What do you have to sit down on a 2-1 $100
So
max?
minimum is $100 in a lot of Vegas casinos. But at Running Aces, I think it's 60 only. I always sit down with 200. That's usually, and max is 300 that you can sit down with at Running Aces. But in Vegas casinos, there's like no limit some places.
Do you see people, whether it's Vegas or here, differ on the bluffing and going all in when somebody comes new in, if they're betting 60, just to have 60 in the bankroll?
Yeah. It was different playing in Vegas than here in Minnesota. But what's crazy too is like, I felt there was more action in the games at Running Aces than there were in Vegas, which is just kind of crazy to me because I'm like, there's technically you can sit down with whatever you like, way more money at a Vegas poker game. Right. So I'm like, they have the opportunity to really just make these pots big if they want, but they really didn't. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's different, but I honestly probably prefer playing at Running Aces because you also play with a lot of the same people, so you kind of get to know their style of play, and that's a huge advantage when you're playing poker. But yeah. So.
How often do you get up to Running Aces? Is it once a week?
Yeah, usually. So it's funny, like Wednesday. I usually go every Wednesday with my brother.
Are you going after this?
I'm debating right now either Twins game or Running Aces or both. Why not both?
Why not both? Why not
Running
both?
Aces after
When's
the
the Twins game? There you go. When's the Twins game?
Sleep is overrated.
Tonight,
yeah,
sleep's overrated.
I totally right.
Yeah.
So I mean, we usually go once a week, either Wednesday or Thursday nights. He's off from work those days, so those nights we usually go. So
do you guys can you try to sit down together or?
Yeah, we can. You can sit at the same table. I mean, obviously, poker's weird though too, because a lot of people are like, blackjack, you can't use your phone or anything at the table. I can take phone calls at the at a poker game. So, because you're not playing against the casino, you're playing against other players, so they don't care what you do. So, I mean, and people make jokes like, "Oh, there better not be any collusion going on here." But my brother and I respect the game too much to try to cheat or something.
You're not doing The Rounders. Have you ever watched the movie The Rounders?
I have, which is horrible. I know, and my friend keeps telling me to watch that, and I haven't watched it.
It's a great movie.
I don't know how I haven't watched it.
Quite honestly, after watching that, I had never done I played basement poker games growing up, and even in my 20s, played some games.
Same.
Yeah.
But I am afraid to go to a casino or even Running Aces because of that. Like I'm afraid that there are 3 people, or I run into you and your brother that are table talking or doing something, and over the period of time, I don't know. I got to get over that.
That's so funny because so many of my friends say the same thing.
Really?
So a lot of my friends that don't play poker, they play just games with their friends at a house or whatever. Right. They're like, I don't want to go to a casino. There's no way there's not people working together. I'm like, I mean, come on. I get it, but I've played so much poker there, and usually it's just individuals coming there, and they're all great players, and I truly think people just respect the game too much to do that. So yeah.
The one thing about poker for me that with Vegas is if you're going to go to Vegas and you're going to play poker or even go to Running Aces, one, you cannot have a time limit on poker playing.
You can't. It's a patience game too.
It is. It's a very patience game. And on top of it, you can't be interrupted. So if my wife and I will go to Vegas, I'm not going to play poker because you sit down, time flies when you're playing poker.
Yeah.
It's weird. I've sat in Vegas and I've played poker from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yep.
Had
and you don't even realize
sandwiches delivered, right? The whole thing.
How do you pee?
You get up, you go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
you just come back.
So once you're out of that hand, you just fold and you just go to the bathroom, come back?
You can
Do they wait for you?
Yeah. No, they just keep going through.
Okay.
If you miss your blind, you either have to buy it when you get back or
Yeah.
they don't want you up from your seat more than 15 minutes really. They'll start calling your name and your seat will be given up. They give you actually probably 30 minutes if
you can walk away from your seat all you want.
Yeah,
you just
all you
owe that
want.
number of blinds that you missed.
Huh.
Yeah.
And you're just folding out every time you're not there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So once you're at a table, now granted, like Kelly said, they're not going to let you do that in Vegas, especially if there's a long waiting list for the table. They're going to get impatient. But as long as you're paying your blinds, the house is getting their rake.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Right. Right.
The other players might get annoyed because they want action.
Because they want action.
Got
so
it.
yeah.
But playing poker is weird, and you and I have to do this next time we go to Vegas. Is just cut out a day where we just play poker, because I literally have found myself looking at my watch going, have I really been sitting here for 6 hours? And you are, because you just get into it. It's just, and it's a flow, and it's not as volatile as slot machines, video poker, blackjack.
So Kelly, if you go, let's say you go to the Twins game tonight and they win, and then later on you head up there and you're up there at say 9 and 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Are you setting a time limit or a dollar amount or both, or what would you do on a night like tonight?
Yeah, so that depends. So I mean, with like poker, my $200 can last me like hours sometimes.
Okay.
Or like, say I get dealt pocket queens, the first hand, and all of a sudden I'm all in for this one hand, and the guy flips over pocket kings, and I'm like, wow, I just got rinsed, and that was quick. So that in that instance, I'm pulling out another 200 and seeing if I can make my money back. But for the most part, I don't like spending more than like two buy-ins is kind of my max.
Okay.
So like the 200 first, usually that lasts me the entire time, like because it's a patience game, and don't get carried away and don't play hands that you're not supposed to be playing just because you're bored. Like, you gotta wait for the hands that you're supposed to play, and you'll find out your money lasts a lot longer.
Right.
Yeah, because you'll see people in hands that should not be in there, and they're done. Like, they lose all their money.
They get lucky once, and then they think they're going to get lucky.
They're going to do it every single time, and all of a sudden someone's re-raising pre-flop to like $50, and a guy with 6'7" or like 6'4" offsuit is in there and somehow beats the pocket kings. Like, that happens though, because people
thinks
play
he's
like
gonna
that.
do it again.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Yeah.
I mean, in the long run, that person's going to be down a lot of money, and the person that's betting 50 pre-flop with pocket kings is going to be up over time. Technically, it's how like technically speaking. So, I
want to switch gears a little bit.
You go right ahead, kid.
Because we've been talking about, so Pete and I play a lot of video poker.
Yeah.
You're obviously, we're talking about the table poker games, the community poker game. So if we typically play a game that pays higher on a 4 of a kind with aces. So I'm setting this up for you. And I did give Pete a hard time for throwing a full house and keeping the 3 of a kind.
Okay.
6s.
But let's pretend, and because I think we talked about this with TJ, but Kelly's smart and intelligent on this when we're going to ask this question. So let's say you have 3 aces and 2 sevens. Do you keep the full house, or do you kick the sevens and go for the 4 aces? Because 4 aces would pay 800, or with a kicker it would pay 2,000.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
It's tough call.
And, so the full house would pay 45. So just to kind of round it out.
Okay.
So we were
Three of a kind plays
Okay.
15.
Truth be
so
told,
you're
I've
really-
been giving Pete a really hard time, and I'm thinking, like, is there a time when you would throw a full house to go for a 4 of a kind in a video poker, like a stud game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or
so
are you-
what does
yeah.
the full house pay?
45.
Okay.
And 3 of a kind pays 15. So the
Okay.
delta between those two, if you throw the pair, is 30 to begin
yeah,
with.
sure.
Hoping to get
800 or
a 1
2,000.
in, what is that? 1 in 47.
48, 7.
47
Yeah.
chance. Yeah. On 2 cards.
I am probably, for me, I'm a gambler, so I would probably go for the
You'd
quads.
you go for
I
the
probably
quads.
would. I probably would, because
I
tough
asked
call.
you that, but that's interesting because
Yeah.
you're going through it in your head, because it sounded like you play a very conservative game, or a by the book game in blackjack and by poker. So I mean, by the book is take your 45, and you got 9 more hands,
plus I go a little
or
reckless,
to your point,
but
6 more hands.
As much as I hate to, I mean, David knows this. I just miss sometimes. I get fixated on a video machine, and I get fixated on the 3 of a kind, and I don't see the other 2. And so I literally, he'll go, oh, you're going for the 4 of a kind there, huh? And I'm like, no, I just didn't see the full house.
Yeah.
And you're giving up
Yeah.
on it, so that
Yeah.
sucks. But the aces question is a good question, because 4 aces pays 800. 4 aces with a deuce, 3 or 4 pays $2,000 on a dollar machine.
Right.
That's I'm inclined to keep the aces and go for the quads.
Yeah.
The other ones, no. But
and you still get the $15, right?
Yep.
Because the
Yeah.
trips or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I probably would too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
especially if I'm sitting at the bar in Vegas and I'm getting free drinks, I'll keep the full house then, because then I'll keep
you
me
got more
drinking
hands.
longer. But if I'm
Right.
not getting the drinks with it, I'm probably going for it.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's my
so
advice.
Minnesota Casino,
Yeah.
you go for it.
Yeah.
In Vegas, you're getting a free drink. So
Yeah.
we want. You know, you don't want to take a chance. building a house. That's where you do not want to take a chance. You want to go with tried and true builder, someone like Custom One, who we know very well. They're a sponsor of ours. They've been building homes for a long time. They've got awards on the Artisan Tour, on the Parade Homes Tour. They have been building houses for so long. I think you and I are probably a little bit younger than as long as they've been building houses. So the most important thing for us with those guys is they give back. They give back to the Children's Cancer Research Fund. They've built houses with wheelchair ramps for folks who are in need. So we thank them for their sponsorship, and we're glad that they're sponsoring 3 degenerate gamblers like us.
Amen to that. Mm-hmm. So, Kelly, as you were coming on this podcast, was there anything you were thinking about that you wanted to have as a topic or a story or anything else?
Oh, geez. I mean, I really wanted to share that $1,500 to $1,600 story.
I love that story. That was a fantastic story.
I know. And then, I mean, the guy splitting the tons, that was cruel.
So I'll tell you a story real quick while you think. Is David and I went up to Hinckley Casino. This you may have heard this on our podcast, but I'll tell it again because it was such a fun story. And in the first 10 minutes we were there, we each probably had $1,000 in our pockets, and we put a couple hundred each into a One-Eyed Jacks machine. It was a $2 One-Eyed Jacks machine. And within the third hand that he got dealt in One-Eyed Jacks, he got dealt 4 to the Royal. And all he needed was the Jack of Hearts, which happens to be a wild card. If he gets that, we win $8,000. And 3 hands into our stay, into walking in the door, he hits it. We get the Jack of Hearts, and we won $8,000.
$8,000.
Like just
really.
And it was nearly the genesis around this whole pull tab, sport gambling guys connection. So it was like
it was like that was the craziest thing. Like I have yet to get a royal flush on a video poker machine.
Yeah,
he's the royal flush whisperer. He's probably had, if it's a dozen, it's probably 15 of them. Yeah. And I've seen him personally get 4 or 5 myself in the last 2 years, and I've never had one. So, and then he gets one literally for $8,000. We weren't only playing a $1 machine; we were playing a $2 machine. So that was kind of your moment where it was like, holy cow, this just turned into a really fun trip, right?
Yeah, right.
So what we might need to do is talk to you off of camera a little bit, and maybe we do we pool our money and do a little video poker. We'll take Kelly's knowledge on poker, and we'll go locally here to one of the casinos and do a little gambling.
Yeah,
love to.
Absolutely.
Or we go up to running. She takes us to Running Aces, and we play a little video little poker and take a video on the way in and a video on the way out. How'd you do? What happened? Right? That would be fun as well.
You technically can film at the tables too, in poker. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So if anything,
Boy, they let you do everything.
Yeah.
What's the rake or the take? Is they do it every hand or they do it on every hour?
Every hand. Yeah. I don't know the exact percent, but it's not much. They take like $2 of it. I don't even know, but it's not much.
It's not a ton.
Yeah.
Out of the pot or out of
out of the pot.
Okay.
So like you'll see them take a chip every now and again and put it in a box, but it's only like. It depends how big the pot obviously gets. But if it's like a $300 pot, I bet they're only taking like $6, $7, $8 or something like that. So it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it adds up over a period of an hour, right?
Oh,
yeah, right.
$400 an hour, but who
they
got
to make money too off of it, or else they wouldn't have poker.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
I love it, Sal. Any questions? You know Kelly well. Thanks for making the connection as part of Pull Tab Sports.
Yes.
And her here. But any questions that you have for Kelly?
No. Where are we drinking?
Yeah, right? Oh my God.
Pre-game of Twins and Running Aces.
We're going to do some Stoli cucumber with a little water tonight, right?
Yeah. I will say one more thing about betting advice, I guess, for sports betting. If you're betting a parlay, you should also always be betting those legs individually too. So I know so many people that
Pete.
Yeah,
weird. How about a 6-way parlay? Do you believe in those?
No, okay, this depends. So I mean, don't go crazy with like a 10, 12 leg parlay or whatever, but say you're betting like a 4 or 5 leg parlay.
Yeah.
And you're hoping to hit that. So many people are like, I don't want to bet those individually. I'm like, well, you're hoping to hit that parlay, right? So you should be confident enough in those legs to also bet. So in my experience, I guess, I don't know, maybe you went like over, I don't know. But
trust me on this, Kelly. Any experience that you have is better and more thought-provoking than mine is. So
okay. So I mean,
I'll take your advice.
Yeah. Every time I bet a parlay, I more than likely I miss it by 1 if I'm gonna miss it, maybe by 2. So at the end of the day, if I'm betting those legs individually too, I'm still coming up on top because I don't have to bet much on a parlay to win a decent amount, but I'm going to be betting decent amounts on those individual legs. And I'm just essentially covering myself and also still potentially profiting if I'm betting those individually.
So do you do, let's say, a unit of 10 on the parlay?
Yeah.
Would you do 5 on the individual legs? Like
No,
half
I
of
would,
it, or what would you do?
I'd do more because, you know, you got to
So you
take
do
in
20.
like you got to have to take into account like the odds. So say your
Got
parlay,
it.
you know, like one of my legs is minus 150. So like usually like my unit's like $50. So I'm probably betting like $50 on each of my legs. And then, you know, maybe only like $20 on the parlay or something. So I'm going to still be covering that parlay bet and hopefully coming up a little bit too after that. So that's usually how I bet in a night.
Idea. I
Yeah.
like that.
I'm serious. If
Weird.
Kelly might
Sal.
actually just take over this entire,
Well, Kelly's going to be our sports betting guru.
I love the
much.
look. I love the look on you guys' face when she says something. And you're like, huh?
Never thought of that one.
What are you doing next week? And say, like, coming in for a podcast on the Gambling Guys plus Kelly, or Kelly with the Gambling Guys.
Gambling guy and Kelly. Other guy moved.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, it has absolutely been a delight to meet you. And
of course.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you so
guys.
much for
Yeah,
coming in. We'd love to have you back. And
Yeah, for
hopefully you
sure.
had enough fun to come back.
Absolutely.
And we'd love to bring your
Really
brother in too and watch you
Yeah.
guys kind of give each other a little shit back
Ooh,
and
that's a
forth.
great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's do a 4-way at some point and get him in here and see if we can get some conversation going and some good stories, family stories.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
We invite your parents over. They can have a couple glasses of wine in the corner
Yeah,
and
right.
hang out
Cheers
and
on.
watch you guys, give each other shit. That would be fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kelly.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
guys.
in.
Appreciate it.
And